He was the architect of an empire, a boy wonder who built a multi-million-dollar music dynasty. He transformed from Puffy to P. Diddy to Diddy, and finally to Brother Love, constantly reinventing himself, always staying one step ahead. For decades, Sean Combs wasn't just a mogul. He was a cultural force, a symbol of unapologetic success, luxury, and influence. He commanded stages, launched careers, and seemed untouchable. Just last year, in 2023, he was riding higher than ever. A new album, collaborations with global superstars like Justin Bieber, and even the symbolic key to New York City in his hand. He was the king of Harlem, the undisputed icon. But imagine that towering empire built on hits and hype suddenly crumbling. Imagine the dazzling lights of fame being replaced by the harsh glare of a federal courtroom. Imagine the cheers turning into accusations, the adoration into condemnation. How does a man who seemed to have everything, a man who consistently defied expectations and overcame obstacles, find himself in this position? How does a figure synonymous with celebration become the central figure in one of the most shocking and disturbing legal battles in recent memory? To understand the breathtaking fall, we must first revisit the meteoric rise. It all began in 1993 when Sean Combs, then known simply as Puffy, birthed Bad Boy Records. This wasn't just a label, it was a movement. With artists like the legendary Notorious B.I.G., Puffy churned out hit after hit, Big Papa, Hypnotize, One More Chance. He shaped the sound of a generation, becoming a visionary producer and executive. By 1997, even after the tragic murder of his superstar Biggie, Diddy proved his resilience, releasing his debut album No Way Out and the iconic tribute I'll Be Missing You, which became the first rap song to debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned him a Grammy. He was a hitmaker, a survivor, a legend in the making. But even early in his career, the shadow of controversy wasn't far behind. In 1999, a shooting at a Times Square nightclub put Combs and his then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. 3 people were wounded, and Combs faced serious charges. The world watched, wondering if this was the end of his ascent. Yet, after a high-profile trial in 2001, Combs was found not guilty of all 5 counts of gun possession and bribery. He walked free, a master of reinvention, releasing another album the same year, aptly titled The Saga Continues. It seemed he could always overcome, always bounce back stronger, always prove his doubters wrong. His empire continued to expand beyond music. He became a reality TV kingpin, forming groups like Da Band and Danity Kane on MTV's Making the Band, pulling back the curtain on the cutthroat world of music creation. He even launched I Want to Work for Diddy, a show where hopefuls competed to become his personal assistant. He was a brand, a personality, a celebrity who commanded attention and loyalty. He changed his name again and again, from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy to just Diddy, and even legally to Love in 2021, launching Love Records in 2022. It was a constant evolution, a carefully crafted public persona designed to keep him at the top.
Bad boy of entertainment is getting the key to the city.
Give me the key to the city. Diddy finally has the key to the city.
This brings us back to the fall of 2023. As we mentioned, September 15th, 2023 saw him release his 5th studio album, the Love Album, Off the Grid, a star-studded affair. Days later, New York Mayor Eric Adams handed him the symbolic key to the city, a recognition of his profound impact. He was at an unparalleled peak, seemingly untouchable, a testament to his decades of hard work and endless reinvention. But then, less than 2 months later, on November 16, 2023, the foundation of his empire began to crack. His former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a civil lawsuit that sent shockwaves across the globe. The allegations were chilling. Claims of rape, physical abuse, emotional abuse for years, and a disturbing level of control over her personal life. She alleged he introduced her to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse. The lawsuit painted a horrifying picture of sex trafficking, human trafficking, sexual assault, and gender-motivated violence. It detailed a specific, brutal altercation in a hotel hallway in March 2016, where Combs allegedly grabbed at her, beat her, and threw glass vases. How could such accusations emerge against a man who cultivated an image of love and good vibes? And what hidden truth did this lawsuit begin to uncover? Diddy's attorney quickly issued a statement, vehemently denying the offensive and outrageous allegations. In a stunning development just one day later, Diddy and Cassie agreed to settle the lawsuit. Both released statements about an amicable resolution, with Diddy's attorney insisting the settlement was in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Many wondered if this was the end of the controversy, but it was only the beginning. Just days after the settlement, others came forward. Joy Dickerson-Neal and Liza Gardner filed their own sexual assault lawsuits as the clock ticked down on New York's Adult Survivors Act. Diddy again denied the accusations. As more accusers emerged, Diddy took to Instagram in December 2023 with a defiant post, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, and my legacy." He declared, "Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Yet that post, like others before it, was later removed from his Instagram feed, leaving only a handful of photos, mostly of his children. Why remove a statement so strongly proclaiming innocence? What was happening behind the scenes that forced such a public backtrack? Then the private legal battles exploded into a very public federal investigation. On March 25, 2024, heavily armed teams of federal agents, some in armored vehicles, executed simultaneous searches of Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The raids were carried out by Homeland Security investigations as part of an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. Diddy's attorney at the time criticized the raids as a gross overuse of military-level force. The public watched in disbelief as news channels showed footage of agents swarming his properties. This was no longer just civil lawsuits. This was a federal criminal probe, turning the spotlight from allegations to actionable evidence.
Assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016.
But perhaps the most damning moment arrived in May 2024, when CNN published bombshell hotel surveillance video from 2016. The footage, taken at a hotel in Los Angeles, showed Sean Combs kicking and dragging Cassie Ventura in a hallway. It was undeniable, visually confirming the very incident Cassie had described in her lawsuit. The shocking images sent tremors through Hollywood and beyond. Just 2 days later, Diddy released a video statement, apologizing for his behavior, stating, "My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video." But again, that apology video was later removed from his Instagram. What does the constant deletion of these critical public statements reveal about the internal strategy and alleged truth? And how does a man who claimed to fight for his name then admit to such a violent act on camera? The investigation continued to intensify. By May 29, 2024, federal investigators were reportedly preparing to bring Diddy's accusers before a grand jury, with many plaintiffs from the civil lawsuits being interviewed and handing over evidence. The symbolic key to New York City was even returned in June after Mayor Eric Adams cited his deep disturbance by the hotel surveillance video. The walls were closing in. The inevitable came on September 16, 2024. Sean "Diddy" Combs was arrested in New York City after a grand jury voted to indict him on severe charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, with incidents dating back to 2008. The man who once ruled the charts now faced a future behind bars. Since his arrest, the legal battle has only deepened. Federal prosecutors filed a superseding indictment in January 2025, expanding the racketeering conspiracy allegations to include 2 new female victims, pushing the alleged criminal conduct as far back as 2004. In March, a gray-haired Diddy appeared in court, pleading not guilty to the expanded charges. Then in April 2025, another superseding indictment added 2 new counts of sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution related to Victim 2, allegedly occurring between 2021 and 2024. Diddy again pleaded not guilty. The prosecution even informed the judge that Diddy had rejected a plea deal, signaling his intent to fight these charges to the very end. And now the federal judge has ruled that the infamous hotel surveillance video of Diddy physically assaulting Cassie Ventura will be shown to the jury at his trial, an undeniable piece of evidence that could prove pivotal. This brings us to May 5, 2025. Jury selection began in Combs' federal trial in a Manhattan courtroom. The stakes could not be higher. This is no longer just about public image or civil lawsuits. This is about a man's freedom, his legacy, and the potential exposure of a network of alleged illicit activities that spanned decades. Will this trial finally reveal the full truth behind the rise and devastating fall of Sean Diddy Combs? What will the jury decide when faced with the mountain of evidence and the testimonies of those who lived in his shadow? And will the man who always managed to reinvent himself be able to escape the most serious legal challenge of his life? Kindly comment what you think about this case. Is Diddy innocent or not? Is he getting away? Wish this or not? And click that subscribe button so you can see us again. Join us on CEtrends as we continue to dissect every aspect of this landmark case, bringing you the most in-depth, unfiltered coverage of the trial that could redefine the legacy of a music icon.